All right, so this is 11.4. We're talking about circumference and arc length. So you have two formulas that are given to you over here. One is to remind you what circumference is, 2 pi times r, r is the radius, or pi times d, d is the diameter. So we've learned that before, so you've known that, you've learned that. Arc length is just a portion of the circle. So you see this blue portion right there? That is an arc, and we've talked about that. And to figure out the measurement of that, it is a portion of our entire circle. So I realize that many of you struggle with fractions, but the best way for me to explain this to you is, think of circles that you are familiar with in real life. Think of, say, like a pizza. If I know that a pizza is a certain distance all the way around, then to figure out what a portion of that is, it's just going to be a fraction of what that total distance already was. And we figure that out by just figuring out how much of degrees it is. I know that a full circle is 360 degrees. So if I can figure out what portion of degrees this is, I can figure out what fraction of the circle that actually takes up. And whatever fraction of the circle that takes up is, that'll be that fraction or decimal multiplied by the actual circumference of the circle. So if I knew that this one was one third of the circle, then whatever my full circumference of the circle is, whatever 1/3 times that full circumference would be the arc length. Now, the other way you can look at it is setting up a proportion. I'm not a huge fan of this right here because it's just something that you have to memorize. I want you to think of why it works the way it works, and I want you to think of it as sections of a circle, as a fraction of the circle. So we can use this formula if we want, but what we're going to need when we do this is we are going to need the arc length. Okay, so the arc length, that's what we're looking for, of AB is going to be equal to, it'll be the measure of AB, which would have to be given to you in degrees, over 360. Now, this portion of the formula here, that is just telling you what fraction of the circle is being taken up. And then you're just simply going to multiply whatever that fraction is by 2 times pi times r. Okay? Okay, so the point is that even though this is a formula that can be used, it really turns into this, because this section right here, the measure of AB, degrees-wise, divided by 360 will give you the decimal or the fraction of the circle that's being used. And whatever that decimal or fraction is, if you multiply it by the full circumference, that will give you the length of this portion. Okay, so let's go to the next page here, and we're going to do a couple of examples. What we're going to do is we're going to review how to find the circumference of a circle. And this is just like any formula that we have. So we have circumference is equal to 2 pi times r. Well, if the radius is 15 inches, we just plug this in. C equals 2 times pi times 15, which is equal to 30 pi. Or if you put this into a calculator, you will get 94.25 inches. Okay, so what I want you to do is, let's see if you can do this one on your own. Should be able to. Just set it up with the formula and plugging it in. Hit pause on the video and just hit play when you're ready. Okay, so you had to be really careful on this one. It gave you the circumference. It did not give you the radius. So you had to plug in 36 in for your C and then solve for your r. So you had 36 divided by 2 pi on both sides, and you should have gotten a radius of 5.73. Okay, so let's look at this example right here. So this is going to be finding the length of the arc. So we want this length right here. Now, we know that it's 45 degrees. So what I want you to do, or the way that I look at this is, we know that this arc, or this section, takes up 45 of 360. Okay? Because it takes up 45 of 360, that's a fraction. That's a fraction of this circle. And then what we need to do is we just need to figure out what the full circumference of the circle is, because whatever the fraction is that we want, if we multiply that by our circumference, so remember, circumference is 2 times pi times r. In this case, it'll be 2 times pi times 9. Okay? So we can just plug that right in. 2 times pi times 9. And then just set it up like that. And then when you put that into a calculator, it will give you the answer. Okay? So the arc length is going to be the fraction of the arc that we're dealing with times the circumference of the entire circle, which is 2 times pi times 9. And you will get a value here of 7.07 inches. Okay? So it works out the same every single time. Okay? I want you to do the same thing for B. Do that on your own. Hit play when you're ready. Hit pause and give yourself a chance. If you don't have a calculator, just set it up and see if you set it up correctly. Okay, so again, should have gotten 28.04 centimeters for the arc length of AB from here to here. How did we get that? We did 120 over 360. That gives us what portion of the circle we're taking up. And we multiply that by the circumference, which is 2 pi times 11. You get 28.04. And that's it for this video. So hopefully that makes sense. Rewatch it as needed. Don't forget to take your Edmodo quiz if that's been assigned. So bring questions to class. See you then.